Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a serious plunge, like a really deep one. We're heading into, well, probably the most mysterious, least explored place on our planet, the incredible, vast depths of the ocean.
Yeah, it's quite the undertaking. We've been digging through various accounts, research papers, basically charting a course down through the water column.
Right, and our mission essentially is to surface the key insights about the ocean's, sheer scale, its unique zones, the frankly bizarre life down there, and the incredible challenges humans face just trying to get a look.
It's hard to wrap your head around the scale, really. We call it Earth, but it's mostly water. About 70% of the surface is ocean.
70%.
And get this, 96% of all the water on Earth is that salty seawater. It really is an ocean planet.
And yet, living right next door, we know almost nothing. The material we looked at suggests, what, less than 5% understanding?
Yeah, less than 5%. And the comparison that really makes you stop and think
Yeah.
is that it's reportedly similar to how much we understand about the entire universe.
That's wild. It just highlights how much frontier is right here.
Exactly. On our own planet.
And depth is a huge part of that. The average ocean depth, 3,680 meters.
Right. Compare that to the average height of land on Earth, which is only about 860 meters.
So the ocean floor is just fundamentally massively deeper than continents are high.
That 3,680 meters, interestingly, is the same height as Pumapunku.
Oh, that ancient site. Weird connection.
A strange little link, yeah.
But that's just the average.
Eh.
The deepest point, the Mariana Trench, over 11,000 meters down.
Mind-boggling. You could drop Mount Everest in there.
And it would still be covered by like 2,000 meters of water.
Yeah. The total distance, peak of Everest to bottom of the trench, it's around 20,000 meters. Just a staggering vertical range.
Puts deep in perspective, doesn't
It
it?
really does.
Okay, then let's start this descent layer by layer. See what happens as we go down.
All right. Journey begins just below the waves.
3 meters. Pretty standard swimming depth. Familiar feeling.
Right, the comfort zone. Go down a bit, say 20 to 30 meters, and that's where you find most coral reefs, the aquatic plants. Still plenty of sunlight here, the sunlight zone.
Okay, now down to 40 meters. This is usually the limit for recreational scuba diving, right?
Generally, yes. And this is where the body really starts to notice the depth. Beyond 40 meters, you can start getting joint pain, maybe dizziness.
Like altitude sickness, but
Yeah.
going down.
Exactly. It's a strange parallel, isn't it? Your body struggles whether you go way up or way down.
Kind of a built-in warning. And there's that super deep swimming pool in Italy.
Oh yeah, in Monte Grotto term, it's exactly 40 meters deep, built for diver training, right to that limit.
Makes sense.
And
Okay,
yeah.
pushing deeper. 70 meters.
Now things get weirder for the human body. At this
Okay.
depth, people can apparently start experiencing hallucinations.
Hallucinations.
Yeah,
Just from the depth and pressure. Wow.
seems so. And sharing this zone, the biggest fish in the world, the whale shark, they often hang out around here.
Gentle giants, thankfully.
Yeah.
All right, 100 meters.
This is considered the extreme limit for professional divers, at least using standard air mixes.
And what lives down here?
The giant Pacific octopus, these things are huge, up to 6 meters across, wingspan, or well, arm span.
6 meters. And they can camouflage, right?
Incredibly well. Change color, texture, blend right in. You can totally see how old sailors might mistake one for some kind of sea monster.
Yeah, deep sea chameleon. Okay, let's keep going. 130 meters.
This depth holds a rather unique record, the world's deepest underwater wedding.
A wedding at 130 meters.
Yep, 2014, off Thailand. A Japanese man and an American woman, both professional divers.
Okay, that's commitment. Who officiated? Did they just shout from a boat?
Huh? No, the officiant went down too. It was actually their pastor, who also happened to be their diving coach.
You'd need that specific skill set, wouldn't you?
Definitely not your average gig.
All right, down to 200 meters. This feels like a significant boundary.
It is. It's generally considered the start of the deep sea.
Why there specifically?
Because sunlight pretty much gives up here. It's too weak for photosynthesis. So basically no green plants below this point. The whole ecosystem changes.
And you start seeing different creatures.
Yeah, adapted to dim light or total darkness. Like the oarfish, sometimes called the sea dragon king, found around here, looks the part too.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Okay, now human limits again. 214 meters. Free diving record.
That's the one. Herbert Nitsch, 2007. One single breath.
How is that even possible? The pressure.
It's immense. It compresses your organs, your lungs. There's a real risk of lung separation. Nitsch apparently used some special technique using abdominal pressure to counteract it.
Just incredible control. What's the longest someone can hold their breath for these dives?
Well, the record for that kind of dynamic apnea freedive is around 11 minutes.
11 minutes?
So if you're talking static apnea, holding your breath on the surface after breathing pure oxygen, that record is insane. 22 minutes, 22 seconds.
Okay, that's just different.
It is. But still, those top freedivers can manage over 8 minutes without the oxygen boost. Truly remarkable.
All right, sinking lower. 300 meters.
Here you might bump into the Japanese giant crab, the king crab.
The ones with the crazy long legs.
That's them. Leg span can reach up to 4 meters. Another creature that looks like something out of science fiction.
Definitely. Now, humans have gone deeper with gear. Scuba record.
332 meters, Ahmed Gab, back in 2014.
302. And the dive itself wasn't straightforward, was it?
Not at all. The descent was quick, maybe 15 minutes. But coming back up, that took 13 and a half hours.
13 hours. Why so long?
It's all about decompression sickness, the bends.
Right, the nitrogen bubbles in the blood.
Exactly. When you breathe compressed air deep down, nitrogen dissolves into your blood and tissues. If you come up too fast, the pressure drops, and that nitrogen comes out of solution as bubbles. These bubbles can block blood flow, cause incredible pain, paralysis, even death, or you can get oxygen toxicity, damaging your nervous system.
So that super slow ascent, like 25 meters an hour, is non-negotiable.
Absolutely vital. He had a whole support team, like 30 people, just managing the ascent stages. It's so dangerous that record might honestly never be broken.
I can believe it. Okay, for context, where do submarines usually operate?
Typical operating depth for many submarines is in that 300 to 500 meter range.
Gotcha. So reaching 500 meters, we're meeting the biggest animal ever, right?
The blue whale, yep. Their deepest recorded dives hit around 500 meters.
And they make that incredibly loud sound.
Oh yeah, 188 decibels. Louder than a jet engine taking off. And those calls can travel for like 1,600 kilometers underwater for communication.
Amazing. But there's something else surprising at this depth.
There is. The emperor penguin.
Penguins, down at 500 meters.
The largest penguins, yeah. They're incredible divers, can easily go past 500 meters, stay underwater for 10 minutes. Probably the most pressure-resistant bird there is.
That's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Penguins. Okay, 500 meters, that's roughly the height of Taipei 101 for scale.
Good comparison. Now, down to 600 meters.
Here we find the barrel-eye fish.
Yes, the one with the transparent head.
That's it. Its eyes actually look straight up through its own clear head.
Such a bizarre adaptation. And the sources mention something dramatic about trying to bring it up.
Yeah, apparently it just explodes if you try to bring it to the surface alive.
Yeah.
The pressure difference is too much.
Wow. A stark reminder of that environment. 600 meters is about the height of the Tokyo Skytree.
Okay, 700 meters.
The European eel lives around here.
Eels, like the ones people eat from rivers.
The very same. But they actually spend about half their lives way down here in the sea at 700 meters. They only go back to the rivers to spawn.
Huh. A whole secret deep sea life. Okay, down to 900 meters.
Now we're in the territory of the legendary giant squid.
Huge, right? Over 10 meters long?
At least. And their eyes, apparently as big as a human head.
Just enormous. Are they really as rare as the stories make out?
Probably not. The research suggests we just don't visit this depth very often, but we actually have a pretty good idea of their population based on what eats them.
Ooh, intriguing. We'll come back to that.
Don't worry.
All right, 1,000 meters? Another big threshold?
Definitely. This marks the beginning of the midnight zone, the aphotic zone.
Meaning?
Absolutely zero sunlight penetrates this deep. It is perpetual, total darkness. And as you'd expect, the number of animals starts to drop off significantly.
Makes sense. Okay, 1,300 meters.
Down here, you can find the leatherback sea turtle. Largest sea turtle, unique soft shell. They come back to these depths after laying eggs on land.
Amazing migration. And something. Less cuddly shares this depth.
Oh, yeah. The goblin shark.
It looks, well, goblin-like isn't inaccurate.
Not pretty, no. But its most distinct feature, its jaw. It literally shoots forward way out from its head to grab prey.
Like that creature in the Alien movies.
That's the comparison everyone makes. It's uncanny, terrifying, extendable trap.
Seriously, nightmare fuel. Okay, shaking that off. 1,700 meters.
Here we find another surprisingly deep diver, the southern elephant seal.
The really big seals with the funny noses on the males.
That's them. Largest seals in the world. Can weigh up to 5 tons, almost 7 meters long. And yeah, they dive down to 1,700 meters. Just incredible.
Wow. Okay, 2,000 meters.
Here, the research described the black dragonfish as looking utterly alien-like.
What's its deal?
Super sharp teeth, perfect camouflage being pitch black, and it has this little lure, like a tiny lamp hanging under its chin, that glows.
A built-in fishing rod.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
To attract prey in the total darkness, then snap.
Creepy and cool. Okay, now we hit 3,000 meters, entering the abyssal zone.
Conditions get even more extreme. Water temperature is just 1 or 2 degrees Celsius, near freezing, still pitch black, and the pressure is over 300 atmospheres, 300 times the pressure at the surface.
Unimaginable. What lives here?
Very few fish, but one dominant predator reigns, the sperm whale.
The king of whales. They dive this deep.
They do, deeper than any unprotected human could dream of going. And the main reason?
To hunt the giant squid.
Exactly. This is their primary hunting ground for them. Sperm whales can hold their breath for over an hour for these deep hunting dives.
Okay, so this connects back to the giant squid population thing.
Precisely. How do scientists estimate how many giant squid there are? They look inside the stomachs of dead sperm whales.
Oh, wow.
And count the indigestible beaks of the giant squid they've eaten.
That's grimly practical.
It is, but based on those beak counts, the estimate is that sperm whales worldwide eat something like 500 million giant squids every single year.
500 million. So maybe not so rare after all.
Seems likely they're quite numerous, just hidden.
And this links to ambergris too, right?
Yes, that weird, valuable, stone-like substance. It forms in the sperm whale's stomach, supposedly from irritation caused by all those sharp squid beaks interacting with stomach acid. It becomes fragrant over time, used in perfumes, medicine, historically.
A very strange byproduct of deep-sea warfare. Okay, a very famous marker now. 3,800 meters.
The resting place of the Titanic.
Sank in 1912. Still down there.
Yep, and it's now protected as an underwater cultural heritage site. Can't be salvaged.
Though people have visited. James Cameron, famously.
Repeatedly. The sources said 33 times. He spent a lot of time down there.
That's dedication. All right, continuing down. 4,000 meters.
Here we find the viperfish.
And its defining feature.
Teeth. Extremely long, needle-sharp teeth, proportionally huge for its body.
Why so big?
Because food is incredibly scarce this deep. If you manage to catch something, anything, you absolutely cannot let it escape. Those teeth ensure it stays caught.
Survival adaptation at its most extreme.
Okay, 6,000 meters.
We're entering the Hodl zone.
Or super abyssal zone, named after Hades, the underworld. It's that deep, that extreme. Only very specialized submersibles can handle the pressure here.
Heck, which ones?
The research mentioned Japan's Shinkai 6500, which reached 6,500 meters back in '89, and China's Jiaolong, which hit 7,000 meters in 2012. Incredible engineering.
Truly. Pushing deeper still, 8,178 meters.
According to the research we looked at, this is currently the deepest known point where fish have been found living.
Wow, what kind of fish?
A type of snailfish, sort of pale, almost translucent. Discovered in 2017 by Chinese and Japanese teams, right around 8,150 to 8,178 meters near the Mariana Trench.
And there was a funny story about how they found it.
Yeah, the Japanese team apparently lured them close to the camera using bait, like shrimp. The quote suggested the fish were practically starving and had never encountered such, quote, good food before.
Poor things.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, though, is this the absolute limit for fish? Or could there be others even deeper?
That's the big question the researchers are asking, too. We just don't know yet.
Okay, past the fish zone, down near the bottom, 10,660 meters. Something else was found here.
Something really surprising. A giant single-celled organism, a type of protozoan called a xenophia 4.
Giant, but single-celled. How giant?
Up to 20 centimeters across. For one single cell. Compare that to the microscopic cells in our bodies.
That's unbelievable. A 20-centimeter single cell.
Yeah, it's theorized that maybe in Earth's very ancient past, single-celled life was commonly this large. Finding these now in the deepest ocean is like a glimpse into that beat history.
Wow, okay. We finally arrived. The very bottom, 11,034 meters down.
The Challenger Deep, in the Mariana Trench. The deepest known point in any ocean on Earth.
How did they even first measure that depth?
Back in the 1950s, believe it or not, they essentially dropped explosive charges and timed the sound waves bouncing off the bottom. Pretty crude, but it gave them the first estimates.
Amazing. And actually getting there.
Yeah.
Fewer people have been to this spot than have walked on the moon.
That's right. Just 4 individuals, according to the sources.
Where were the first?
1960. An American, Don Walsh, and a Swiss engineer, Jacques Piccard. In the submersible Trieste, they reached 10,916 meters.
What was their dive like?
Took 5 hours just to get down. But when they reached the bottom, they heard a crack, saw a crack forming in a viewing window.
Oh, terrifying.
Yeah, they had to ascend immediately. Didn't stay long at all.
Did they see anything before they left?
They reported seeing some life, surprisingly, a type of flatfish and some shrimp, even at that depth.
Okay, who's next?
James Cameron, in 2012, his solo dive, backed by National Geographic and Rolex, he actually stayed for about 2 hours.
2 hours. What did he see?
His reports mention mostly small shrimp-like creatures about 3 centimeters long, and otherwise, he described the seabed as desolate, lunar, like the surface of the moon.
Hmm. So fewer complex fish than the first dive reported. Interesting. And the most recent?
Victor Vescovo, an American explorer and investor, in 2019, he actually dived twice in his submersible, reaching 10,928 meters.
And his findings?
This is maybe the most sobering part. He reported seeing basically nothing living, but he did see a pile of plastic bags.
Plastic bags at the absolute deepest point on Earth.
That's what he reported.
So the trend over the decades, 1960,
Mm.
flatfish, shrimp, 2012, mostly shrimp, 2019, plastic bag.
Yeah, a concerning snapshot, isn't it? A stark reminder of human impact reaching even the most remote places imaginable.
Absolutely. Well, that completes our vertical journey, from the familiar surface down through all those zones of fading light, crushing pressure, bizarre creatures, right to the very bottom of the Challenger Deep.
It really underscores the vast difference between the world we know and this hidden extreme realm.
And exploring it, understanding these limits, it's not just about curiosity, is it?
No, it's profoundly important. It shows us the incredible tenacity of life. Life can exist without light under pressures we can barely comprehend. And that maybe, when we look for life elsewhere.
We shouldn't just be looking in the easy places around stars.
Exactly. Life might thrive in conditions we consider totally hostile.
And water seems key to all of this, doesn't it?
Absolutely central. 94% of Earth's known organisms are aquatic. Even land life like us depends utterly on it.
And there was that fascinating detail about some microorganisms.
Oh, yeah, the suspended animation thing. Without water, they seem totally inert, dead. But add just one drop.
And they instantly revive, spring back to life.
That resilience, tied directly to water, found right here on Earth. It really makes you wonder, based purely on what we've learned about survival limits and water's power.
You look at somewhere seemingly barren, like, say, a moon rock, appears totally lifeless.
Right, but could there be something dormant there, something just waiting?
Waiting for water to awaken it.
It's a provocative thought, isn't it? Connecting the absolute necessity of water here to the potential for life hiding in the most unexpected places, all hinted at by the secrets of our own deep ocean.
Truly fascinating stuff to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.